Hao. My name is Anna Zupan, and I would like to introduce to you a little bit more about our CCN programs. But before I really go into the specifics of our program, I would like to mention to you that CCN really provides to you a one-stop solution. So before, during, and also after your degree studies when you finally are in China. So for before part, we have our foundation courses that already Sabrina as well as President Chen, they both mentioned that they help you fill in this gap, academic gap from when you come from an Indonesian high school or Indonesian bachelor degree and then into a Chinese university. And an important part of this is also, again, that this is actually an academic criteria that is recognized by our universities for also admission and, of course, scholarship. So here I will introduce to you our Ifp and our Uea program later on. So for during part, we have our degree programs of our member universities. And then after, this is, I think, as a former international student, I think it's a very important part. We have our Digital China program, which actually helps you to enter your professional degree or your business career later on. So here you will then learn about somehow digital economy, as well as the opportunities that this digitalization brings to you after you finish with your degree. But let's really look at the Ifp and Uea program that I mentioned before. So first, I would really like to introduce the Ifp program to you. So Ifp is based on a model that is called 1-to-N. So what does this mean is actually one student, so you, to many different universities. So it means that you can really enjoy a very wide variety of university choices, but at the same time, you are guaranteed with at least one of our CCN member universities. And of course, if your performance is good during the Ifp studies, you will also get a scholarship opportunity, which is, I believe, very important for us as students, that we can have a relaxed study so that we don't really worry about money as well. So the learning outcomes of the foundation courses are really four that I would like to mention here today. The first one is the linguistic confidence. So when you come to China, you, for example, go to the store or you go to the restaurant or you have some business at the bank, you don't really have any problems with communicating. But what is even more important is when you go into the classroom and when you talk with your professors, when you do some sort of projects with your classmates, there is no this language barrier that you have to worry about, because you have the general Chinese knowledge, but you have also learned these specific terms that are used in your degree. Then, of course, another learning outcome is also this academic preparedness. So when you come from a high school in Indonesia, and maybe there are some differences with Chinese students, how they learned mathematics, how they learned physics or chemistry, there is you really learn these gaps and you catch up to them. So there is no these differences. And then also there is cultural adaptability. So this means that you get prepared to live in this culture. There is no differences. I mean, you are prepared for communicating with the professors. You are prepared for communicating with your classmates. And there is no problems when it comes to these things. And the last outcome that I would also like to finish is professional employability. So after you really finish with your degree, you already have developed some links for further personal development. And I would really like to mention here, because I'm one of the examples, because I studied Chinese, then I did my degree here in China, and now I'm really working also in China, in Shanghai. It really helped me that I learned Chinese and that I also have this experience in China of studying, because I feel like it gives me this further advantages. For example, if compared to people that just came to work in China and have never studied in China. So now let's look a little bit more in detail about the curriculum. So for IFP, we really try to make it very specific to you. So there are different classes for you. If you see here, if you are studying an undergraduate degree and if you are studying a postgraduate degree. We also made it very specific to your degree study. So if your degree is in the business stream, or in science stream, or in engineering stream, or in humanities stream, it will always be very specific to your needs. So let's look very much in detail. If you are going to study an undergraduate program in the business stream of degrees, you are going to study, of course, general Chinese, because general Chinese is somehow the basis that we are building on. But then you are also going to study certain terminology of mathematics and of economics and business studies. Besides this, you are also going to study some subjects that will further advance your knowledge that you got during high school. So here we have mathematics and we also have economics and business studies. Now, if we look for science stream, again, we have the same basis. We have general Chinese. Then you will learn about certain terminology in mathematics, physics, and chemistry, and you are going to advance your knowledge in the subjects of mathematics, physics, and chemistry. Then we have also the engineering stream. So we have general Chinese again, and then you will further advance your Chinese with learning certain terms from mathematics and physics. And hello. Oh, okay. You are going to further advance your knowledge in mathematics and physics. Now for humanities stream, we again have general Chinese, and you are going to learn some certain vocabulary of humanities. And postgraduate studies, because postgraduate studies are quite different from a bachelor degree. Here we made a special, very special course on research methodology, because when it comes to studying a postgraduate degree, you are going to have to do a lot of research. You are going to have to write some papers. So this is a very important subject that you should learn when you are preparing to enter a postgraduate degree. So let's now take a look about the academic calendar a little bit. So as mentioned before, we have different routes that are again very specific to your needs. So for example, we have here a route A. This route is very specific for Chinese beginners. So if you have never really learned Chinese before, this is a route that I would suggest for you. And it lasts for 1 whole year. As you can see here, you start in September. So if you're interested, you can actually still join us, because we still didn't start. We will start in 3 weeks' time. And then you study for the whole year until July. And then in September next year, in 2023, you are going to enter your degree. So then we have also Route B. So Route B is targeted at students that are somehow at Chinese HSK level 3 or 4. So this is a shorter program. As you can see, we will start in April, and then you will study until August, until you then enter your degree in September. And then we also have our shortest somehow program, which is Route C, which will start in May and is only 3 months. It's targeted at students that already have quite a high level of Chinese. So it's usually HSK 4 or even above. And yeah, as Sabrina also mentioned, we also want to offer students that are still in high school a part-time option for them to study Chinese and also other Chinese for academic courses as well as subject, as I mentioned before, but they don't really have to lose 1 year of their time before they really enter their degree. So if this is the case, you can really choose our part-time option here. And now for the assessment. So our assessment is actually quite comprehensive. So it doesn't just cover the end exam, but we really look also at your attendance here, as you can see, which is 10%. We also count the standard monthly test, which is then 20%. We also look then at midterm and term end exams. And of course, the most important part is the final graduation exam that you take. But of course, it is important that you really work hard during the whole year or during the whole few months, depending on which route you have chosen to be. Because your final admission as well as scholarship, of course, depends on how hard you have worked and how what type of IFP final result you have gotten in the end. So let's see what are the most basic entry requirements. So for the undergraduate study, it is important that you have finished your high school. And then during your high school, you have also studied certain subjects. So here for the business stream, if you would like to apply, it is important that you have studied mathematics. If you would like to study the science stream, it is important that you have studied mathematics, physics, and chemistry. For engineering stream, we have mathematics, physics, and chemistry. And for humanities stream, there is none. And as I mentioned before, like for different routes, there are different requirements for your Chinese level. So for route A, you can be a total beginner. Maybe you have learned a little bit Chinese, but your knowledge really doesn't exceed HSK 2. For route B, we have HSK 3 to 4, and route C is HSK 4 to 6. Now for postgraduate degrees, it's really important that you have finished your bachelor degree. And besides this, your bachelor degree should really be connected to what you would like to study in your master's degree. So for example, if you have studied, let's say, French language as your bachelor degree, it is really hard for you to advance into, for example, computer science and technology, because there is just too much difference and you would really have a lot of problems to catch up when it comes to degree study. So for what is really expected for you to achieve during our IFP courses. So for basic admission into university, into one of our member universities, you should achieve at least 60% on your IFP results. And for scholarship, it should be 75% or above. And for the IFP program, as I mentioned, this is the model of 1 to N. What we really guarantee is that you will be admitted into at least one CCN member university. But here you can actually have two universities choices. Let's call them your two dream universities. So for example, let's say that you would really like to go into Xi'an University. So this will be your first choice. And then if you, just in case that you cannot reach these high requirements of Xi'an University, you would have also another choice, which is, for example, Shanghai University. So these are your two choices. But let's say that anything goes wrong during your studies, anything happens that you cannot reach the requirements, we still guarantee you to be accepted at least into one CCN university. So really do your best, really strive to reach your dreams, but we still have that guarantee that you, at the very least, if you pass our IFP course, we will guarantee you that you will have a university. And then also besides the whole admission, we also guarantee you with a scholarship opportunity. So if you are able to reach the required IFP results, as I mentioned, you will also get the scholarship opportunity. But it is not completely connected to the specific university. So if you reach the scholarship requirements, you can definitely get a certain level that we will talk about it now. So we have four different levels of scholarship. We have A1, which is the highest one. It means that you can get 100% of tuition fee covered at one of the top CCN universities. So this means at 985 or 211 universities. Then we have a A2 scholarship, which means that you again get 100% of tuition fee, but at a non-985 or 211 CCN university. And then we have a A3 scholarship, which means 50% of tuition fee or equivalent. And the lowest one is A4, which means below 40%, usually around 20 to 30% of tuition fee covered. And now about our UEA program. So our UEA program is somehow, we could say, our more premium program. And it is, as you can see, the model is 1-to-1. So it means that there is one student that goes to one specific university, one specific major, and we already in the beginning know that if you can reach the specific requirements of the IFP study, you can also get the scholarship that we already promised you in the beginning before you even started with your study. So this is somehow the difference between IFP and UEA. As we saw in the IFP, you had a wide variety of choices, and for UEA, you already know which particular university you will go to in the end, if you, of course, reach the requirements of the IFP study. So our UEA programs actually, they cover a very wide variety of the programs. Here we can see a few clusters of them. So in the business and management cluster, we have very popular degrees like e-commerce and international economics and trade. Then in literature and arts cluster, we have digital media, we have business administration, and for example, also very popular is here Chinese language in the business direction. And then also in the science and engineering cluster, we have big data management and application, we have computer science and technology, very popular two programs, and we have here artificial intelligence. So this, as you can see, are really somehow programs that are sought after. So you will be considered to be a talent that China and also your own country are looking for when we are really entering the workforce. So the entry requirements for UEA, because of course, as I mentioned, it's a little bit, it's our premium program. So the requirements are a little bit higher. Here you can see that for the undergraduate study, it is required of you that you have finished with your high school, but that your GPA is at least 70 or above. The other requirements are basically the same. So of course, it is also required that for different streams, you have studied different subjects during your high school. So for example, as we saw before, for engineering stream, you had to have studied mathematics, physics, and chemistry. And also for the Chinese level, it's again the same. So according to which route you would like to go, you should have the certain Chinese level before that. For the postgraduate study, again, you should have completed your bachelor degree, and your bachelor degree transcript should have at least 70% on your GPA. And as we saw before, your bachelor degree should be connected to your master's degree. Otherwise, it can be very difficult for you to study. So yeah, as we mentioned, for UEA guarantee, so our CCN guarantee, it is a little bit different from the IFP. So for UEA guarantee, it means that before you even enter into our foundation courses, you will already receive a conditional offer letter which will state your final destination university, degree, and also scholarship. Now it really only depends on you that you really do your best and reach these requirements. And here we also see the Uea scholarships. So because it is a premium product, we also here have a higher scholarship degrees. So A1, A2, A3, and A4 are all the same as for IFP that we saw before. But here we also have A01 scholarship, which actually means that you get the full scholarship. So 100% of tuition fee. You also get accommodation. So this means that your dormitory is basically covered. And besides this, you also get a living allowance. So every month or every specific season, you will get a certain amount of money that then you can use for food, for daily supplies and stuff like this. And the A02 scholarship level. So this means that you get the tuition fee, and then you get the accommodation fee or living allowance, so one of these two. And besides this, to make somehow a conclusion, I would also like to mention all of our support services. So besides the IFP and Uea program, what do we offer beside this is really counseling. So maybe if you're not sure which program or university to choose and you would like to get some knowledge, like for example, which university is good for mechanical engineering, or which university can I go to study digital media or something like that, we of course offer you this sort of counseling. Then we help you with the admission into the IFP study centers and also into universities. And of course, now that the good news is out that maybe you can soon return to China or come to China for your studies, we will also help you with the documents for visa application, then also helping you with departure and also arrival when you finally arrive in China, and then also registration at IFP centers. And after you finish with your foundation studies, registration at the your final degree universities. So this is actually everything from my side. I hope that you can really soon come to China and enter our CCN IFP Center, and that we can really help you reach your dreams of entering a Chinese university for your degree study. So thank you so much for your time. I hope that we can continue with our sharing and that you have learned something new today. So yeah, thank you.